Hey, good morning. Good morning. I'm gonna open things up once everybody's in the room. Let's see. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. If you would, just start loading the chat up with some gratitude this morning. And that's actually something we're going to talk about a little bit today in combating negative thoughts. So I would love for you to put some positive things in there, things that you're grateful for. Good morning and happy Friday. All right. Grateful for you all. I was thinking about that the other day. I was like, wow. Sometimes we take for granted the people we get to work with. And just thinking about all the different faces on the screen each morning and their special gifts and talents and what a blessing that is to be a part of. It's unlike anything else. It's pretty cool. Thieves essential oil. Uh-oh, somebody's got a cold. All right, good morning. Okay, so I have the pleasure of leading you today and just opening your day with some thankfulness and gratefulness for what you have in your life and who you are. My name's Julie Russell, and actually, I would love for you to start thinking about some things that you're thankful for about yourself. I know that's hard sometimes because we are our worst enemy when it comes to thoughts about ourselves. And we're going to just kind of focus on some of that today. And I got to be honest, years ago, I probably didn't have a whole lot of positive thoughts about myself. Very judgy, very stuck in perfectionism. And so sometimes it was hard to see what others saw in me. And over the last year, I've worked with a growth coach and really had someone that was able to hear me and see me and encourage me. And it's just been a cool thing to experience because I think each of us is looking for that in our life, and we're made to live in a place where we feel like we contribute and that we're worthy. And a lot of times that's not what we get, right? It's not what we get from the world. And so I just want to encourage you, as you think of things that you're grateful and thankful for, put yourself on the list and really think about who you are and what makes you special, because each person is different, right? And there's no reason for any of us to try to be like someone else. So we've started with gratitude. Be thinking about those things that you love about yourself. Something I've been reading about is I've been reading two books. Well, I read a book last year that I really loved, and I wanted to share these with you. Rachel gifted this one to me this year, The Gifts of Imperfection. And if you struggle with being a perfectionist, this is gold. You're going to need to read this. And there's so much good stuff in here, but also if you're a Christian and you want some help in connecting who you are with God and what that looks like in your thought life, this book this last year was really gold for me. This, along with my growth coach, really brought to the surface the fact that I didn't think too highly of myself. And that's a problem, because when you don't think highly of yourself, and I don't mean like, ooh, I'm all that, but I mean like, if you don't love yourself for who you are and what you have to offer, then you can't love others well. And a lot of turmoil and arguments and discontentment comes out of actually not liking who you are. So that's a big subject to delve into, but I really want to focus on negative thoughts and how to stop them, because that's what this book helped me to do. And I'm going to touch on a few points, but then I found an article online that really just has some great bullet points. And I'm probably going to read a lot from that because I'm not a psychiatrist. But I can glean from others who do know what's going on in my head and give you those tools today. So something I learned from reading was that negative thought spirals begin by believing one of three lies. So if you have a problem with your thought processes during the day, that you have a lot of negative thoughts, it's connected to one of three lies. And those three lies are: I'm helpless, I'm worthless, or I'm unlovable. And typically none of us would say those exact three things to ourselves, right? We would say other things like, I'm not as skinny as that person, and I just feel terrible about myself because I don't feel like I measure up, or I'm not as good of a coach as such and such because I'm just not good at this. And there's things that we tell ourselves throughout the day, but if you really delve into what those things are that you're believing, they do tie back to one of those three lies. So I'm helpless, I'm worthless, or I'm unlovable. And you guys will probably connect that to that below the line thinking, right? That victimhood. And that's really where we want to try to stay out of. Living in victimhood is a trap. And once you start thinking and ruminating on those type thoughts, you have to do something to interrupt it. You have to intentionally stop the thoughts. And so I'm going to get to some points on that in a bit, but it all starts with knowing you have a choice, right? You have a choice to live in that place where you believe you're helpless, worthless, or unlovable, or you can choose to believe truth. At convention this summer, they talked about this, about thinking about what is the lie that you're telling yourself when it comes to who you are and your business and your relationships, and really just stating that lie out loud. And that's something most of us aren't comfortable doing because a lot of times we feel shamed for thinking those things. But it's important to find a safe person to speak that lie to, so that safe person can help you confront it with the truth. You need somebody in your life that you can do that with. And if you don't have a special someone in your life to do that with, or that you just you're not there yet, you don't feel comfortable bearing your soul to someone that you know, man, find a professional to help you do that, because it is so freeing to be able to speak those things that you're believing about yourself and having someone come alongside you and counteract it with truth. So we have a choice to interrupt negative thoughts and create healthy ones. And that's an important piece of this. Not that we just stop the negative thoughts, but that we create healthy new thoughts and know that there's three truths there. We are not subject to our behaviors, genes, or circumstances. Believing that lie, that we're subject to those things, would keep us in victimhood. We are not subject to our passions, lusts, or emotions. You have a choice to control those things. You are the one with the brain, and you can stop those negative thoughts. We are not subject to our thoughts. So those are three things that if you really hold tight to them and begin to interrupt negative thought spirals, you can take control of that piece, which will then in turn roll into every single relationship that you have. Because you're not working from a place of victimhood. When we interrupt negative thoughts, some cool stuff starts to happen. So this is the brain science part of it, okay? When we think new thoughts, we physically alter our brains. That's in our text, you know, it's what we're doing. We're forming new habit loops. So we talk a lot about habit loops and physical things that we do, how we're going to eat, how we're going to drink, all those things, how we arrange our days and how we manage stress. Those are kind of more tangible things that we can do, but you can actually do that with your thought processes as well. And knowing that that's going to affect all of those other things as well, because it all starts with a thought. When we think new thoughts, we make healthier neural connections. When we think new thoughts, we blaze new trails. So some of us are not used to thinking positively about ourselves, and it's a weird thing to do. But you need to take that into practice and really take hold of that piece of your life, because it does affect every other piece of your life. And when we think new thoughts, everything changes for us. So there's that perspective, right? We gain a new perspective about ourselves and others when we're thinking positively and not negatively. And this is a piece where, a lot of people are like, oh, I just, I can't buy into the whole, I love myself, but it really does. It does skew the way you see everything, the world, people, situations, circumstances. If you have a negative thought pattern, it is going to put a lens over everything that you do and see and say in life. And it's a big deal. I'm going to go over real quick. I'm like, where did my article go? So there's 5 great ways to interrupt negative thought spirals and really take control. First of all, observe your thoughts. The first step, and I'm going to read this verbatim, the first step to overcome toxic thinking is to recognize the thoughts as they occur. As a Christian, this would be taking your thoughts captive. That's what I think of when I read this. Sometimes the best access point into your thought patterns is recognizing how you're feeling. If you notice you are feeling annoyed, ask yourself, what are the thoughts running through my head that are creating this feeling? A lot of times I think we experience that with our spouses, right? Am I the only one where you've got this story going in your head and you're really annoyed and there's just really no reason for it? Of course, it's natural when things are stressful or don't go as planned to have negative thoughts. However, when you start to go down the negativity spiral, remind yourself that you have the power to control what you think. And this is about the choice, right? The key is acknowledging you have the right to feel this way, but also that these thoughts are not serving you and the positive life you want to create. So yes, you get to feel that way, but you don't have to allow it to drive your thoughts and your decisions and your words. Be an observer and just notice your thoughts. So that's the first step, is to observe. Practice self-compassion. That's the piece most of us have a hard time with. We beat ourselves up when we go down this road and we end up blurting something out and hurting someone that we love. And why is it always the ones we love the most? I don't know why, but it is. Remember that you are your own worst critic. Forgive yourself for your mistakes and let go of the need to be perfect. By practicing self-compassion, you will learn from your mistakes and become better equipped to handle challenges moving forward. Self-compassion promotes a type of self-worth that isn't grounded in external comparison and results. That is so key, you guys. You have to be able to know that you're worthy right now, just as you are. You don't need to change anything. You get to own your own story. Set an intention. An intention is a clear and positive statement of what you want to manifest in your life. So this would be like, how do I want this to go? We ask clients that all the time, right? And just setting that positive intention. Incorporate mindfulness, meditation into your schedule. Eric talked a lot about being still, and I think that works nicely into that, and having some positive thoughts to replace negative ones that you identify. And then journaling daily. So this is something that I do as I read books like this. I'm starting to write things like me, I, instead of taking notes on the book, I look at it as if it was written to me. And when I take notes and journal, that's how I write things down. And man, that's been so helpful. I know we're out of time, and I know I kind of ran through those things. But set an intention today to stop the negative thoughts, observe them, practice self-compassion, set an intention, incorporate some mindfulness and time of stillness, and journal. And for like, if one thing I could tell you, find that safe person and talk to them. Everybody needs a friend, and everybody needs to be seen and heard. All right, happy Friday. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. See you on boot camp tomorrow.